What is up, guys? JayFerGaming here, and welcome to some more F1 2017 game news. I'm very excited to bring you guys this one. If you are new to my channel, do remember to hit subscribe for more F1 2017 news when it comes out, and yeah, all my F1 2016 content and R Factor 2 as well. So yeah, some news today. Oh, it's going to be a great one. It really is. This is the one I've been looking for. And I suppose if you haven't seen the trailer, let's get that up for you right now. Oh my god, as a Ferrari fan, that is absolutely epic. I started watching, the first season I remember watching was 1997, but to see these cars, oh, it's like an F1 orgasm. It really is that good. So first up, we have the 1995 Ferrari F12 T2, which was driven by Jean Alesi and JayFerGaming. A reference to a past video on F1 2013, JayFerGaming, and it wasn't one of the most successful Ferrari cars. They did finish third overall in that season's Constructors' Championship, and that's when Jean Alesi actually won his one and only Grand Prix, which is a very big surprise because he was quite a talented driver. I think he just got very unlucky, but it was a V12 car, so wow, that's going to be epic, considering we're used to the V6 engines, or power units as they're called now, in the most recent games. It's going to be absolutely insane listening to them engines. It'll be absolutely brilliant because I went to Silverstone last season and the engines were pretty loud even in the V6 era, so if you think about it, the V12s must have been absolutely deafening, but that's absolutely brilliant. As I said, it wasn't one of the most successful cars, but as we move on, we get to some very successful cars indeed. We have the 2002 Ferrari F 2002. That's a bit of a tongue twister to say. That was driven by Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello. Yeah, one of the most successful ones of all time. I think that's the one that was already released, actually, looking down the list. So that's not new news, but he was very successful. 14 out of 17 race wins. Absolutely dominant, and a very dull season of F1, I've got to say. So on to the next new car is the 2004 Ferrari F 2004. I need to stop saying it like that. It gets me in a bit of a tongue twist. But yeah, another very successful season for Michael Schumacher and Barrichello. And another pretty dull season, you've got to say. Winning 15 out of the 18 races, 12 pole positions. Absolutely dominant, and yeah, it just summarized Michael Schumacher's career at times, just how dominant he was. Barrichello, obviously the number 2 driver, but he got a few wins as well, if I remember correctly. But 2004, I think, was the season where F1 had probably the fastest cars overall. Like, most of the I think lap records were around that period. Thinking back, that's when I think it was Kimi Räikkönen had the highest speed in Monza. I'm sure it was 2004, but the Williams was very powerful back then. The engine they had was absolutely incredible, but the Ferrari was up there as well, especially with the downforce the chassis had. It was just an absolutely dominant car, and as a Ferrari fan, seeing them win all the time then was great. But yeah, I've got to say the racing wasn't too exciting at the time. But of course, in game, it's a lot easier to overtake and things. So I just can't wait to drive these cars. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. And the final new car was the 2007 Ferrari F 2007. driven by Felipe Massa and world champion for that year, Kimi Räikkönen. They won 9 races out of 17. That was a very awesome season. Lewis Hamilton's first, of course, and to see Räikkönen beat Hamilton in the final race of the season, for myself personally, was absolutely brilliant, because I think you all know by now, I'm a huge Lewis Hamilton fan, of course. And yeah, that was the highlight of Räikkönen's career. Things have declined for him a bit since then, but yeah, another great car. I personally prefer the colour scheme from the 2002 and 2004 car with the white as well. I think that looks brilliant, but it's another very nice car. And just looking at all the like the front wing, it's just so detailed. It's absolutely incredible. And you can tell, you can just look through the images, just how developed the cars become over the seasons. If you just, on the blog, you can see all 4 images of the Ferrari cars, and yeah, it's like a trip down memory lane. It's absolutely incredible. I'm so excited for this, and to see 4 Ferraris is absolutely brilliant, but there's a number of cars yet to be announced. There was the RB6, I think. I can't remember. The Red Bull car from 2010, which was the RB6, of course it was, which won the World Championship in the final race. That was announced. That's a very good looking car as well. And some of the cars that I would like to be included from now on, I've actually got them in my mind this time, unlike my first video. But because I got into F1 around the late 90s and 2000s, that's the period I want to see most cars from. And yeah, I'm not too bothered about the 70s and 80s, I've got to say. They were fun to drive on F1 2013, but I'd rather have newer ones, I've got to say. So I mentioned the Brawn from 2009. I mentioned that in my first video. That obviously was the World Championship car, and pretty good looking as well. And yeah, a great story in F1. Renault from 2006. I think most people would say they'd include that. The colour scheme was brilliant. I love the blue and yellow. And Fernando Alonso and... was it Fisichella? I think it was Giancarlo Fisichella. Because Jarno Trulli was in 2004. I know that for sure. I think it was Fisichella 2005 and 2006. So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong there. And another one I've got to say. They're from lower cars. Like standard cars, but there are also teams that don't exist anymore, so I don't know if licensing going to be an issue. And the first one I'd suggest would be the Jordan from 2001. I say lower car. Jordan battled for the championship around them years. I can't remember exactly. It's so long. I can't believe like this Jordan that I'm looking at from 2001 is 16 years old. It's absolutely incredible. But I think it was driven by Heinz-Harald Frentzen and possibly Ralf Schumacher. Yeah, I'm just trying to picture it all in my head. I can't actually remember. That's just a guess there. But it had like the shark nose. No, what's it called? It had a shark on the front of the livery, which looked pretty crazy. And I'm not a fan of McLaren, but the McLaren from 97, 98, that was a good looking car. David Coulthard and Mika Hakkinen. Obviously, that's when Hakkinen, around that period, won his 2 world championships. And probably the final car would be the Arrows in 2000. I love the orange and black colour scheme. I think I mentioned this last time as well. I don't like the current McLaren one, but the Arrows from 2000, that was a good looking car. So they're my suggestions. They're my suggestions of future cars to be announced for F1 2017. It's going to be so excited. If you have any suggestions, please do leave them in the comments, and I'll give you my opinion of what I think of them. So if you want to see more content like this and my usual 2016 kind of stuff, do remember to hit subscribe. Leave a like on this video if you're psyched for all these announcements for 2017, and I'll catch you in my next video. Goodbye.